Hey, everybody, welcome to the dojo. It's Sensei Tosh with your training for the week. So, I talk about week after week, there's certain things that come up on coaching calls. And so, one thing that came up this week I want to talk about is uniform service. Is how you do anything is how you do everything. How you do the small things is how you do all things. So, practice owners, I know you guys are listening to these, but please make sure that you share them with your team so that they can have the same knowledge that you do. Sometimes we learn stuff and we don't pass that on to our team members, and maybe we get frustrated, but it's because they don't know and they haven't heard the word. They haven't had the experience themselves. So I strongly encourage you to get your teams listening to these trainings as well from the dojo. So uniform service is every time, well, coming from Disney, I just talked about this on one of the Monday wake ups, is I worked at Disney for 4 years. It has uniform service so that every time you go in, it's going to be a magic experience. That's why I say it's the happiest place on earth. Same thing if you look at going into Starbucks, or even down to the lowest common denominator is going into McDonald's. There is a predictable way the service is being done. So if you're at Starbucks in Seattle or you're in Starbucks in Grand Junction, Colorado, the service is going to be the same. So how do we get there? It's through making sure that you have scripts, you have standard operating procedures, and you have policies. My kids work at Chick-fil-A. It's very much like that. So we can create a corporate mindset into a small business that doesn't have to feel stuffy, but it allows the patient, allows your practice members to have an experience where they can predict it. Every time they come in, this is how they check in with the front desk. And then they're given a folder or a travel card or whatever you guys use in your office. Again, the standard operating procedure to move about the organization. The way the services are delivered should be uniform across the way. In case in my office, I had 2 medical providers and 2 DCs. You don't want them to say, oh, I only want to go see that person because I like the way they do it. It should be done similar. Of course, as a DC, you're going to have some finesses that are a little bit different, but it should feel the same as far as an experience for the patients. So think about that, from how you answer the phone calls to how the person arrives into the office to when they begin on a care plan. Each encounter should be very similar because you want them to feel comfortable. Just like when you walk in home, you have your way of doing something. You put your keys here, you take your shoes off, you put your book bag in a certain place. Have that set up for your practice members, your patients, so that they can have a great experience every time they come into the organization. And make sure that you cross-train your team members. So if somebody's out on vacation or they're not feeling well or they had something else and they couldn't be there, when another person steps in, they do it exactly the same way as the person who normally holds that area. That way, your patients feel comfortable and confident. Just like if they're walking into their own home, they feel comfortable. You want them to feel part of the family. So that is why having predictable services is so important, and that we're uniform across the way. We'll see you next time.